We have some questions from the good folks over on Locals and Patreon. So let's get to some of these. Ooh, man alive. Let's see here. This question comes from Teresa. Hi, I've always been a bit of a tomboy personality-wise. I love makeup and jewelry and feminine things, but struggle with feeling a bit out of place when theology of the body topics like the feminine genius center around a naturally nurturing caretaker-type woman as contrasted with a less emotional doer-type man. I've always related more to the latter, and I don't know what the church would say about a woman who, say, doesn't naturally desire to be a mother or is naturally very focused on the external. Tall order, but can you help, Clara? It's beautiful. Thank you so much for such a lovely question. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I relate to that.
Yeah, I think my wife would too.
I just learned how to curl my hair at like the age of 38. Looks good. Huh?
It does look good. Actually, I was thinking that at some point. I didn't want to say it in case it was sexist, but I thought it would look great. Yeah.
Anyway, you curl it away from the face. This is what I learned.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing the Bo Peep thing. Anyway.
There you go.
So I feel like I'm in this weird phase where I'm kind of, doing some of the weird, like learning how to paint my nails and stuff. My nails aren't painted right now, but so I think that conversations about the masculine genius and the feminine genius, I think, need to also take into account the individual, right? So I think this is, again, I'm pulling from Edith Stein. There's the level of the human, which men and women fully share in humanity. So the full range of human virtues, for example, or capabilities in terms of rationality, all that kind of stuff, both men and women share fully in humanness. Then there's this level of sexual difference where there are differences between the sexes, generally speaking. And if you're talking on the aggregate, about certain personality traits or tastes or dispositions, then it often looks like a bimodal kind of graph, right? So, sorry, Mike. So you might have like a very, most women are here, or most men are here, but then you also have like some men who are over here and over here. So when it comes to the individual level, that's the third level. Then an individual woman's femininity might look more analogous to some typical masculinity. But the point is, it's still femininity. And that's something I think is really important. I get this from John Paul II. He never uses the term masculine and feminine except in relation to masculine to male persons and feminine to female persons, because it is the body that characterizes the act that makes it feminine or masculine. So masculinity is a male body acting and being in the world, and femininity is a female body acting and being in the world. So I think we need to resist thinking of masculinity and femininity as these like free floating kind of archetypes that I'm like, I'm doing something feminine or I'm doing something masculine. No,
that is wonderful.
Like I am feminine, and so whatever I'm doing is feminine. So
that's right.
And I also think some aspects of the feminine genius that you hear talked about, like an attention to the person, and like that women, because of our procreative potential, we have this like special interest or investment in the dignity of the human person. Like that's like this kind of special wisdom or charism, I think, that women should lean into. But it's something that needs to be cultivated. It's not just something we have. Like the feminine genius isn't just, it's like a virtue, right? It kind of has to be habituated. We might have certain proclivities or tendencies as women, or our embodied experiences might open certain kinds of wisdom, but that still has to be kind of cultivated in a way. So you might not really like babies, whatever, that's okay. Maybe the way you're going to nurture is, you're going to nurture old people who are dying, or maybe your nurturing is going to look kind of different, right? Also, I think men can be nurturing. That's why I don't like this. Men are nurturing.
Yes.
Women are nurturing. Men are, just like super strong or whatever. It's like, no, like both men and women are nurturing and strong. They just embody that differently, right? So I almost think that we should think about masculinity and femininity more in terms of an icon rather than in terms of like a list of characteristics. Like if you think of a typical icon of, say, St. Joseph, and a typical icon of Mary. Both of them are usually tenderly embracing the child Jesus in some way. Oftentimes when Joseph is kind of holding Jesus out and he's like, la la, you know, and then Mary might be kind of like cuddling Jesus toward her or something. So maybe there's a subtle difference in that, but nonetheless, both of them are being nurturing in that gesture, right? They're also both being protective. They're both, so it's not like they're they're not these opposites, but one is a woman and one is a man, and one is masculine and one is feminine, right? So it's this embodied expression of who we are. So I think anytime we're going to like abstract lists of traits, then we're like, no. Like this has to be grounded in embodiment.
That is a really great answer. Thank you so much for it, because I imagine maybe this person, Teresa, or other women maybe feel like kind of really afraid to become a mother because they just don't have a natural affection towards children.
Yeah.
But what was your experience of that? I mean, did you have that experience prior, or did you always like babies?
I was afraid of babies and I was afraid of children. Like I didn't know how to talk to them.
Yeah.
And when I would try to talk to children, it was always super awkward because I just didn't really know. And now I love talking with kids because I'm around kids all the time, so I know how to talk to them. And I'm like I love babies so much. Like if there's a baby in the room, I'm the person that's like, I just get all googly. I just love it. And no, I wasn't that way before I had.
So maybe
I had kids,
not to be afraid of that, not to be afraid. I think my wife was similar. She's such a great mom and she got such a lovely affection. But I like what you said there about sort of like virtues that need to be practiced, maybe.
Yeah,
what you said?
I think that something I have really had to practice that doesn't come naturally to me is gentleness. So that's something I have a very strong devotion to Mary, and I've done the consecration several times, and every time I go through the consecration, I feel like there's a certain attribute that she's asking me to kind of accept as a gift and really cultivate. And over the last couple of years, gentleness, especially with my children, that's been one that I've just really tried to lean into, because I think I'm like I have a kind of a choleric personality. Like I'm a little bit kind of intense, or I have two modes, basically on or off. I'm either like, like let's do this, like, or I'm like taking a nap. And so it's been good to have to kind of cultivate gentleness, because I feel like it's something that that's been done in me rather than this natural attribute I have.
That's beautiful. And feminine in a sense, of the receiving this gift, yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.